Again, I'd like to thank you for joining today's session titled Streamlining Evidence Management, a live demo of iCrimeFighter. I'd now like to turn over the presentation to Heidi Schultz and Jason Brovich. Heidi will begin today's presentation. She's the Sales and Customer Service Manager at Northland Companies, which is an iCrimeFighter partner in Minneapolis. Since 1982, Northland Companies has and continues to be one of the most trusted names for mission-critical recording solutions. Also presenting today is Jason Brovich. Jason serves as the Chief Sales Officer at iCrimeFighter, an innovative digital evidence management system provider that helps prosecutor offices, law enforcement agencies, and county officials manage their cases digitally. Heidi?
Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Heidi Schultz, and I'm excited to introduce you to iCrimeFighter, a cutting-edge digital evidence management system designed to streamline your investigative and legal processes. iCrimeFighter is a cloud-based platform that revolutionizes how digital evidence is collected, organized, and shared. Whether you're in law enforcement, a district attorney, or a prosecutor, iCrimeFighter offers tools tailored to your needs, ensuring that you can manage your cases efficiently and securely. The system handles a number of digital files, including photos, audio files, interview room videos, phone extractions, body cams, and more. After digital evidence has been collected and stored, it must then be accessible. iCrimeFighter tracks chain of custody and user access while allowing investigators to review evidence in their cases. Some of the key features of iCrimeFighter include the unified evidence management, which allows you to seamlessly collect and manage digital evidence from various sources. Second, the secure collaboration makes it easy to share evidence with colleagues and other agencies while maintaining strict security protocols. Third, the user-friendly interface allows you to navigate through the platform with ease, thanks to its intuitive design, which Jason will demonstrate shortly. Lastly, with the cloud-based storage, you can access your evidence anytime, anywhere. Let's discuss some of the key benefits of iCrimeFighter. For our law enforcement professionals, iCrimeFighter simplifies the evidence collection process, allowing you to focus more on your investigations and less on administrative tasks. With real-time access to evidence, you can make informed decisions quickly and efficiently, and it ensures that all evidence is stored securely in the cloud, protecting it from loss or tampering. For district attorneys and prosecutors, iCrimeFighter ensures that you have all the evidence you need at your fingertips. The platform supports seamless collaboration with law enforcement, making it easier to build strong cases and achieve successful outcomes in court. iCrimeFighter provides district attorneys and prosecutors with all the necessary tools to present compelling evidence in court, increasing the likelihood of successful prosecutions. The system also streamlines the entire process from evidence collection to courtroom presentation, enhancing overall efficiency and effectiveness. iCrimeFighter is designed to support the unique needs of each of these roles, making it an invaluable tool for the entire criminal justice system. Now let's move on to a live demonstration of iCrimeFighter. Jason will walk you through the main features and show you how easy it is to use the platform.
Perfect. Thanks, Heidi. This is Jason Brovich with iCrimeFighter. I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration here in a second and kind of show you guys the value of iCrimeFighter. So I'm just going to go ahead and shut my camera off for just a moment. Maybe we'll do this and we'll leave it on. Well, actually, okay. So iCrimeFighter, as Heidi kind of went over, is a streamlined process or solution to get not just evidence. I would be thinking if you're on here and there's quite a range of audience on the call today. So be thinking about three things: how do we collect data, files, how we store it, and how we share it. And so that's my goal today is, can we bring value to that workflow process that you guys are currently doing? Now, we've met with a lot of departments throughout, since 2011, we've been in business, and we hear a lot of the same workflow pain points. And I just want to kind of hit on those real quick as we go through this, and then I'll kind of get into the demonstration. Here's what we hear. You guys are struggling right now with the collecting side. I'm going to get into that to make that easier. You guys might have certain processes that work as far as, hey, we use this platform to collect it, We store it over here kind of in the cloud, and then we share with, stuff like flash drives, external hard drives. Maybe we use links. Those are not always the best workflow because you're forcing your little hand to download. And so I'm going to demonstrate all that stuff today. iCrimeFighter is not just unique to law enforcement. We cover all the bases. So I would think as iCrimeFighter for government. So law enforcement, prosecutors, defense attorneys, health and human services, Department of Human Services, criminal investigation groups, all that stuff applies to just hopefully helping with that workflow design. We're hosted on the Amazon GovCloud. We're CJIS compliant, SOC 2, HIPAA, and then as far as all the guidelines for states and federal guidelines, we meet all those as well. So now what I want to do is I just want to get into a demonstration and kind of really hone in on the connected pieces of how everything works. So let me go ahead and log into my account and kind of show you guys kind of how everything works. I do want to say this out loud as this is getting logged in is as you're looking at this solution, and depending on what you guys are currently using now to, kind of organize some of these items, like I said, it doesn't have to be related to just digital evidence. Some of these large files can be, a pain to workflow as well. Be thinking about how we connect pieces. So the sharing is I think the most important thing. And so we link people together very easily. So I say that because in a statewide kind of rollout, we can look at a state and go, we could roll out a state very easy, really quickly. And then you want to think all those connected pieces, not just so much who I'm working with today on this project, but who eventually will I have to share this information with at some point. So just want to throw a couple of those items out as I walk through this. So as we log into the iCrimeFighter solution, we kind of have our cases organized. So you may be a creator of the data, so you might be actually building the case, or you might be a receiver. And some of this dashboard will make more sense to you depending on who you are on that spectrum. So all cases, everything in my department, office, agency, whatever you're classified as, these are the cases that I've created, and these are my active cases, right? I'm not going to demonstrate today. If you guys are interested, we will, but we have tools like applications like apps to be able to collect data while you're in the field to do basically everything that I'm showing you now from a standpoint of collecting it. But we can start it right here as well. We can create a case. We can put the information that applies, case number, address, court case that may apply to the party receiving it. One thing I would say too is there's a lot of integrations that we have available through either case management systems, Bodycam providers, interview room systems, and so forth to make this process easier. And then we also have a desktop app. We call it the desktop app sync that basically allows the workflow of those items to be, brought in from behind the scenes. One of the things I would tell you is sometimes the madness of getting that stuff downloaded and re-uploaded to the system is usually the workflow discomfort, I would say, to some of your users. So as we're in here, we have all cases, every active case. We got our shared cases. I'll actually come back to this tab when I kind of work through the process here. My cases as an individual, I'm logged in. Those are the cases I'm working in. If I'm an investigator, if I'm a prosecutor, whatever it may be. Task, this will make sense when I kind of get into a live case. And then when we can actually search by just about anything. You might call them case names, court case number, an incident number, whatever it may be. But we can go ahead and put that information up here, which I'm going to actually open up a case that has a little bit of information in it, so it'll make more sense. We can also do a date range search as well. That'll just allow us to go, hey, we know the time frame, but that's about all we know. So I'll hit search, and this will open up a case that, like I said, has a little bit more information in it. So now that we're in the back office case of that information here, just kind of walk you through kind of how things are organized. Now remember, this could have came in multiple different ways. And what I mean by that is it could have came in through an integration that we have with some of the Bodycam providers out there. It could have came in through this desktop sync. It could have came in through the mobile app. So all that stuff is orchestrated and collected behind the scenes, and then it's brought here to a case file. When you're here, the one thing to notice is the structure and the madness of the layout of how things are brought in. Now, like I said, because we have a wide range of audience on this call, keep in mind this is structured, for like that law enforcement prosecutor. But if you're health and human services, like you have different names to your folders, that obviously can be structured to that whatever works for your workflow. So here we have, we have court documents, we have 911 recordings, we have different body cam views, whatever it may be. All that's information is there. We want to be, as I always say, we want to be that one location for all the information to reside in. We are not a hardware company. So if you think about all those hardware pieces and different flavors out there, we have to work with all those. And so we do, every once in a while you're going to get a unique file that will still go into our system, but it just might have to be, handled a little differently when you go to play it or whatever. Let me just scroll down so you guys can get an idea. Our focus at iCrimeFighter is we want you to be able to stream these, read them, watch them, look at them, listen to them, whatever. We want you to have that user experience that when you're in the solution, you don't have to download them. Now, we still give you the option to do that, but the whole focus is I want to be able to live in the solution and be able to manage my files, and that's really kind of our vision as well. So now that we have this information up, I do just kind of want to walk through some kind of highlighted, I guess, features and benefits of, how do we control this and how does this information get shared and so forth. So now that we're looking at this, I do want to point out the fact that I know there's some folks on the call right now that, like, a lot of times we're collecting data from outside sources, right? And those outside sources do not have an iCrimeFighter account or any way of getting it to us. They're going to probably give us a thumb drive, or we're going to have to go on location to do it. We have something called Evidence Anywhere. And Evidence Anywhere allows me to securely invite somebody to collaborate with me or whoever initiated the case. So I can put a name in here. I can put an email address in here. I can put a message. Basically, I'm requesting information from that person, retailer. Think about the Ring doorbell. If you're a criminal investigation group, you're collecting information from every law enforcement agency, more than likely at some point in your state. So think about those folks, because what we're doing is we're basically going, hey, I want everything you have, put it into this secured location. You have no access to this case file. Once it's been uploaded, it's going to basically give a confirmation to both parties to say, hey, it's in your account. Go view it. And then the person that did upload it, it will say, hey, it's been completed. But that's a good workflow for getting information in from outside sources, like I said. So just want to point that out. Another one that I want to hit on, because it's really easy to workflow, is in your case management systems, in your RMS systems, whatever you may be using to kind of control that workflow of these documents and narratives and stuff like that. Everybody wants to do an integration, and we have stuff available to do that. But sometimes it's just about flowing the traffic easier to find the stuff when I want it. We have something called Copy Direct Link. It's simply a hyperlink process to put that into your case management system or whatever that solution is that you're using, and simply just basically route it. You're not moving the files. You're simply routing it to the location. So if I'm sitting in my case management system and I want to route to these items, I click on that, it goes right there. The location will never change for that particular case. And so items added and so forth will obviously be added to that location for you guys. So just know that that's how that works. Let's talk about the sharing. As I said before, let me open this up. As I said before, we're all about connecting the dots, right? There's no good news in storing all this stuff in a spot that you can't share with the parties that need it. And so if you're looking at a county standpoint, think about all those other agencies that you need to, if you're the one creating the case, think about the folks that need to, that you need to share to. Health and Human Services, prosecutors' offices, other law enforcement agencies, criminal investigation groups, whatever it may be. And so we basically get those all signed up. They would obviously have your name labeled. And when you need to share with them, this is what you do. You flip a switch. Flipping the switch sends the information to their account. Now, we don't charge you based on account. We charge you based on case volume. So we're not going to get into pricing on this call, but just know we don't care who you're set up with. We want as many users as possible set up so you can easily share to them. But now they have the notification through email. It says, hey, whatever party it is has shared a case with you. You can either click on that, that email, or you can go to your iCrimeFighter account and be able to view it. Any ongoing information that goes into an existing share case, the party that has their notifications turned on will automatically get notified. Hey, there's a new video here. There's a new document there. But that's how that process works. It doesn't have, and you can share it to multiple agencies, multiple departments, offices, whatever it may be. I do want to just drill down a little bit because some of you on the call might be larger, and so sometimes sharing to a department with all these users doesn't quite make sense. What we can do is we can actually break it down into groups. So like in a large prosecutor's offices, you may have, which you would, only certain attorneys that handle felony cases. And so that group would be same, it's be the same share, but we say, hey, we want to share to that. We hit save, automatically shares the same way. So that's how we think about sharing. We can do that in a statewide push out just as easy. So you would have an ability to search by whoever it is that you're looking for within your state. So I'll get off the share. I want to say out loud, we are tracking everything that from a case history standpoint. So everything that you guys have from the time it was viewed, uploaded, if you collaborated with somebody, all that information is being tracked. And so this actually can be, exported to a PDF if you guys need it in that sort of form, but that's available. I just want to scroll through here just so you know. Just a workflow issue that I've heard a lot is, sometimes people send stuff to others and they say, hey, we didn't receive it. You guys now have a track record and kind of a process to understand, hey, within the case history, it does say that you did receive it. So just kind of want to point that out. Let me go back. So we showed you how to collect, how to basically, the stuff is obviously stored, how to share through a collaborator. Let's talk about sharing this through I guess I would call this a non-iCrimeFighter user. How do we share that way? Like an open records or a defense attorney type sharing. So I can come up here and select all items. I can remove the items. I realize that not all items are ready to be released at the same time. And then I can simply come over here to share files and share files. Now I will point out that these are sharing as a secured area to go to. So much different than like if you guys have a workflow that shares a link to force it to download, that doesn't really solve all the pain because you still have to put it there. And if it's large, it creates a little obstacle there. So this is sharing to a location that a user would log into, and then they would have access based on what you ever set, whatever you set here. So you can customize it. You can set the dates. Let's say I want to go to the 28th, hit next, hit send. Sends it to them. It uses their email as the account holder, I guess, to always link as many cases that you've sent that email. So just, something to think about is if it's a defense attorney and they're working, 10 cases, from your office, they're going to log in with that same email and see all the cases. It's really great because then they don't have to go to multiple locations. But here's the beauty is because I shared it this way, I can actually still manage those files through this. So I can come in here, I can say, hey, I want to disenable this, I want to customize the date, or I want to simply either add or remove files that I've given access to this particular person. So just kind of want to walk through that so you guys have an understanding of how that works. Couple more things and then we'll open it up for some questions here. So I want to highlight, I mentioned the tasks. So there might be processes in place to be able to communicate just what is missing, what's there, just questions that you have with a particular case or these files. So we built in a process to make it a little easier. So if you click on task, you can assign a new task. So let's say for instance, this particular case is missing, and I'll just type in Bodycam. More than likely, not always, but more than likely the communication process is somewhat like this. I'm calling the person, I'm emailing the person, or if I'm right next door to them, I'm going next door. And we're trying to make that a little easier that, okay, who it is that you have the question with, you can assign it. So we'll just use this one, for instance. We can set a priority level. So I can say this is high, and then we can set a due date. So this due date is going to be set as soon as I hit create. It now basically sends an email, and it will continue to prompt that person until they get that task completed. But I will tell you, this is a very easy way to communicate the process, knowing that that case and what you're asking about that case is now linking everybody together, so they don't have to go look in two different spots. So that's just how that process works. Let me take you back, and then we'll kind of wrap up here, and then we'll see where any questions are. But I started by talking about shared cases. This is really, like I said, a receiving end dashboard. So folks that are, or departments that are receiving an end from law enforcement, from health and human services might receive it from law enforcement, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But these fields can be customizable to what's out here, so you can either add or subtract. A lot of times it's from a prosecutor standpoint, or somebody that's on that end, hey, I want to apply the court case number. Great. You can definitely add that to the case once it's been shared, and then you can search by anything that case headlines or in the header information is there available. So just to kind of recap, from a start to finish, like I said, it's got to bring value. So like I said, from the very beginning, you guys are coming to a webinar here, you've seen some interest, you got a process in place, but does it bring value to what you currently are using? And I would ask you too is, does it, there's a lot of things that we can subtract that obviously offset the cost to implementing something like this for even long-term storage. So it's got to bring value. Two is, like I said, we just, from a start to finish, it's the collecting, the storing, and the sharing of items. And hopefully in a roundabout way, I've been able to highlight that to give you guys a good understanding of what we do and what we currently are trying to offer. And kind of go from there. So I'll kind of wrap it up there. Maybe I'll just kind of turn it back to you, Beth, and see if there's any questions that came in since I've been talking.
Yep, we would now like to open up for any questions. Thank you, Heidi and Jason. If you are interested in learning more about iCrimeFighter or arranging a personal demo for your organization, please contact Northland and visit our website at northlandsys.com/iCrimeFighter. As a reminder, if you would like to submit a question, click on the question symbol located in the top right of your screen and submit your question. We do have a few that have come in. How efficient is the search capability for locating specific data or files?
Yeah, so right now the searchability is pretty much anything that's labeled in there, from a standpoint of that first page I showed you guys, from a case by case, anything in the header information you can search by. Within the actual case file itself, you guys can search by any of those items as well. Now, here's what I'll tell you, it's actually being released this week. We're actually introducing tagging. So I think that actually probably gets more into understanding that you can actually tag items and get more efficient on kind of that search criteria. So that is coming to make it a little easier. So hopefully I answered that question.
Okay. Is the system completely hosted in the cloud?
Yep, 100%. It's hosted on the Amazon GovCloud.
Okay. We do have questions about costs. We can follow up with you after the webinar. Also about storage size available, and do you have cold storage pricing as well?
Yes to both of them, and I'll just kind of elaborate. Obviously, I'm not going to get into the pricing on this call, but we do have pricing available for cold storage available. And then as far as, what was the first question? The first question was
storage size available.
Oh, storage size. Yep, there is no limit on the size. We have folks that are doing phone extractions into our system today, so there is no size restriction we have, and that's kind of why we have a desktop app sync that kind of, because if you put it through a browser, it would be too large. So we do have processes in place to make those upload processes easier.
Okay. What permissions are available to control access?
Yep. So from a admin standpoint, you guys can break it down from a user. that you set up on the system to say, I want them to have very simple viewing rights all the way up to I want them to have all permissions. So that's what I always say was we set up the account, the admin kind of drives the usership to set up their user accounts and be able to drill that down. So yep, you guys can set that up.
Okay. Are there bandwidth requirements?
The only bandwidth requirement that the team would like to see is from an internet standpoint. They say as low as 25 megs per second. I would say that most internet providers are probably hovering around, I think I'm saying this right, about 100. But the only really standard is your internet speed. And I would say that only from the standpoint of how long it's going to take. But that's really, really the only requirement for that.
Okay. Heidi, I think maybe this one you might want to address. What training and ongoing support do you provide?
So yeah, I'll take this one. Northland, supported by iCrimeFighter, will train the customer on this product. We can train on site via Teams and also do train the trainer. And we'll include maintenance and training in the quote we provide for someone.
Okay. Let's see. That looks to be all the questions we have. Oh, who owns the data if changes want to be made down the road?
Right. No, that actually, it's a great question. So in the agreements, it's actually you guys or the department owns the data. So we don't hold your data hostage for any reason. The data is owned by the buyer.
Okay. We'll give folks another 30 seconds or so if you have any additional questions. If not, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today's session. Again, our contact information is on the screen. We will send out a copy of the recording through email later today. And if you do have any questions after today's session, please feel free to reach out. And we do have one last question that has come in. Migration of old data being stored, how do you do it?
So depending on the scope of it, what I would say just high level is we have some migration companies that we work with depending on the terabytes, but we have this desktop app sync would basically allow us to funnel that in. If it's on the server, that's easy. If it's a cloud to cloud, we probably have to use some of our partners, but we can definitely have a conversation to go, what's the scope of what you're trying to handle. But yep, we do that as well.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for your time. Thank you, Jason and Heidi.
Yep.
And we look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.